Hello, and happy Sunday, everyone. It is Sunday on February 9th, 2025. It's just about a little bit after 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And thought I'd come on and share a little insight with you as I have some time today. Funny story. I basically did everything that I usually do on Sundays yesterday because I had an unpredictable schedule that opened up a lot of time for me. So then it gives me some time today to do other things. And I guess a part of some of those other things mean being here with you and sharing some insight with you today. So, as I titled this live, Careers and Job Shifts. And what does that actually mean? Well, when we talk about careers and job shifts, what's happening, and I'm sure we're seeing it already, and sometimes we need to point our fingers at someone or something to place blame on to why some things are going on in our world, our life, our personal life. And I'm here to share some insight with you based on that. So before I dive into my conversation, let me introduce myself, Reverend Joanne Angel Barry Colon. I am the founder of Holistic Fitness and Why. I'm your certified holistic personal trainer, holistic integrative teacher, Reiki master, medical astrologer, master of numerology, card creator, and card reader. And there's so much more to me. I'll keep it there for now. At some point, I'll pull a card for you to give you additional insight. So let's dive into this conversation that I'd like to have with you in reference to helping you be in the know, helping you to find a space of peace and calmness with all the cray-cray that's going on around the world right now. That's affecting you personally as well, or affecting somebody that you know personally. And what that just means is, yes, when we think about our planets right now, let's talk about the planet Uranus. Uranus, if you do not know, is the planet of rebellions. It's about patience, it's about the unpredictability, and it is also very much about chaos. The chaos that shows up in one's life. And because it is a what's more known as an outer planet, which means it does not move as frequently as planets that are closest to us. It means it's going to impact the collective, and then that in return impacts us. So with that being said, the big thing that I want you to pay attention to, if you are astute to your astrology chart, which means you're reading your astrology chart, you're paying attention to the house placements of where Uranus is on your chart, then you're going to understand the language here. Now, if for whatever the reasons are, you're new and you're not quite sure of the astrology language, do not turn off this live. Stay with me. Hang in there with me, because this is a great day for you to learn something new, not just about the collective energy, but also about how it impacts you, influences you, and it also helps you to get to know who you are on a, what I like to call a soulful level. So going back to Uranus, the planet, like I said, that is a representation of patience, rebellions, unpredictability, and the cray-cray, chaos that we are seeing in the world right now, and how that very well may be showing up in your life. Now, currently, Uranus is sitting in Taurus, and just has recently gone direct. Now, if you know anything about astrology, you know that Uranus in Taurus has been retrograde for several months now, and all a retrograde really does, it slows down the mental energy and the energy of that particular planet and that zodiac sign. Taurus is associated with your physical material possessions, everything that you hold on to. So that could be your real estate, that could be your career, that could be your relationships, that could be the places that you go to every single day or you like to visit. It's also about your physical money, and understand that physical money is just energy, that it's an energy exchange. Just that unfortunately, as humans, we give money so much energy. We make it really important, where it's really just an energy exchange, like you and I are exchanging energy. And if we learn to understand that that's exactly what it is, it won't have such a hold onto you. Where I'm sure some of you who are watching with me right now or watching on the replay, your relationship with money may be a little sticky, meaning that you have a challenging time when it comes to money. You don't like to talk about money. You think if you spend money, that you're being greedy about it. You think that you have to hold on to every penny. You think you've got to save money. And when it really comes down to money and what's known as the law of attraction to money, that is furthest from the truth. Because again, money is just an energy factor. And maybe later I'll talk more about that if you want me to. In addition to Taurus being about the physical material possessions, the relationships you have with all the people you associate with, the places and things that you do. It's also about money, and it's about your physical body. And being that Uranus is currently in Taurus, you may be experiencing some physical symptoms that's showing up in your body. Whether it's physical pain or maybe there's an illness or a disease that has flared up. I like to believe that anytime anything is showing up in our physical body, it's just our physical body's way of bringing attention, trying to get our attention for that matter, regarding something that needs to be redirected. I truly believe, just like Louise Hay and Lisa Baru and many others believe, that anything that's showing up in our physical body is really stemming from an emotion that either A, has not been addressed, or B, has not been healed, or C, has just been overlooked altogether. And over time, if it has been overlooked or not addressed or just pushed aside, over time that's going to start to bubble up and erupt. And that could be very well what it's doing if for right now you are experiencing any type of pain, illness, or disease. Especially now where we have a huge emphasis on our physical body thanks to our South Node in Virgo. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a little while. So when we think about this Uranus energy in Taurus as it is right now, at least until July 7th, when Uranus will move out of Taurus and then move into Gemini, and that's going to be a whole different energy. However, we're really starting to see that now, even though July is so far off, we're only in February. Is it really that far off though? So when we think about this energy of Uranus, of the unpredictability, the rebel within us, the rebel that we're seeing from others, and also the chaos that's showing up in our lives, that definitely impacts and influences each and every one of us on an individual level. So now bringing this into how this is, that this energy is impacting people's careers and jobs. Another two planets I want to bring into the conversation is Saturn and Neptune. And I will be speaking about Saturn and Neptune a lot. In fact, I'll be writing an article about this energy, so you'll be able to read more about it, get more information on it. When we talk about both Saturn and Neptune, Saturn is the planet of restructuring. It's your karmic reset. It's about your foundation. And both Uranus and Saturn have something in common, and that is both of them rule Aquarius energy. Now, before I dive into the Neptune energy, Aquarius is all about your vision. It's about the connections and collaborations you have. It's also about being patient as well. And whatever that vision that you have, and you may not really be living truly true, this could be one of the reasons why that Uranus energy is so powerful right now, because there is chaos to be had if you're not fully living into your soul's vision in perfect alignment. And whether you know it or not, when we are not perfectly aligned with the thing that we came here with, that we were born to do, the agreements that we have, what will eventually happen over time at different times in our lives, because I truly believe that we have cycles, and that everything's like what's the expression? The expression is like a full circle experience. So if you think back to, here we are in 2025, and you think back maybe to 2007, maybe 2001, those energies may have a similar theme to what's going on in your life right now. And rightfully so, because again, the vision that we hold and the agreements that we have with the vision that we do hold need to be put into place. So when we think about Saturn, like I said, Saturn is your restructuring. Something is being restructured. And a big part of that restructuring is your career and your job. If we think back to 2020, 2021, 2022, even 2023 for that matter, we have all experienced some massive changes in our foundations and our structuring based on your career. Some of you do not have the same job you had in 2020. In fact, some of your jobs don't even exist anymore. They have been faded out. Your career, like mine, may be looking a little differently than it did in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. That all really has to do with that Saturn and Uranus energy. The chaos and the restructuring that's occurring over this time frame that we are looking at. And there's no two words that I'm hearing. There's no accidents and there's no coincidences, because there's really no such thing. What really is happening is that behind the scenes, as I like to refer to as the universe, is helping you to come back into alignment to the very agreement that you are here, that you agreed to before birth to fulfill in this lifetime. Now again, many at a young age, probably during high school or directly after high school or maybe after college, took on a job that was to fulfill your financial lifestyle. Because back in the days, we were programmed, conditioned to believe that we want to have a career that is going to be financially successful. We want to have a career that's going to provide, especially for the men out there. We want to have a career that's going to be up and growing. Now again, based on different studies and research, based on different businesses, some businesses back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s might have been up and growing, and now all of a sudden there's no need for them anymore. And now the new up and growing industries is a lot different than back then. So now if you're in a career or a job that your industry might have been up and going back in the 80s, 90s, and up until the early 20th centuries, and now all of a sudden you're starting to notice that something's changing with your industry, and you're starting to wonder, like, what are you going to do? And maybe you're that person that has lost a job and put out your resume, and then you got another job in the same industry, and then you're finding yourself in the same situation where now again you're feeling, you're intuitively feeling as though something's happening, that you're feeling like you need to start looking for a different job again, because that job is either going to fade out or you're no longer qualifiable. Now, what happens to people that are no longer qualifiable for the position they have is that what really means is that they have grown as high on a ladder as they can possibly go, and there's no more growing space for them. They cannot grow in that field anymore. And I believe Steve Harvey says this best on many of his talk shows. And I'm gonna botch up what he says, so I'm not gonna actually say it exactly how he says. I'm gonna say it the way I heard it, and I'm gonna send it out here. Is that if God or the universe has closed that door, meaning that you have literally either lost your job or that job was faded out and you no longer have that job, if the universe or God closed that door on you, the universe or God does not want you to try to reopen that door by reapplying to a position in that same field. So, for example, if you were in retail and working in retail for X amount of years, 15 years, 20 years, maybe since out of high school, who knows? And here you are in your early 50s, and you're finding that you tapped out at the highest amount of income you could possibly make in your industry, and that at this point in time, they are actually the opportunities that you're getting in your industry is actually asking you to be paid less. What basically that is a message from the universe letting you know that you shouldn't be applying for that position anymore. You have outgrown that position. So what does someone do at the ripe age of mid-50s who has outgrown their industry because their industry is fading out? What do they do? Where do they go from there? Now, the answer to that question really is simple, and that answer is simple, yet may not be so simple. And what I mean by that is, ideally, the key of it is if you've outgrown your industry or your industry is being faded out, thanks to, again, the fact that there's so many people who actually do purchase more items from online than physically going into a store. A lot of your retail stores are closing down because they're not getting the revenue in the store as they're getting it online. So there's really no need for physical people to be in that store. So, and because they're not getting the revenue to keep the store running, it just makes sense for why a store would close down, why they would have less stores. And we're seeing more and more of that. We've been seeing that since 2020, where I'm hearing that this store is closing, that store is closing, this big commercial business is closing. And that's because, again, they're closing because customers are buying more online than in the actual physical store. And so what does that do for you? That means that you have to start looking for a different industry to work in. Which also may mean that if you only know in your industry is that all the knowledge you've had is your industry, it may also look like having to take on a new skill, which means having to take on a course. Doesn't mean you have to go to college. This is not about going back to college or starting college. This is really about going and searching for courses, short courses, 2-week courses, 12-week courses, whatever the amount of courses, to get the initial knowledge for something new, so that you will be more qualifiable for a different industry. And I know, again, someone who's in their mid-50s, that's the furthest thing from their mind is wanting to start on a new course to learn something new. However, that's really the only option one may have is, well, I shouldn't say the only option. Spirit just tapped me on the shoulder and said, no, it's not the only option. And excuse me for saying that. It's not the only option. You don't have to necessarily go and take a new course to learn a new skill. The other option is every one of us, there's no one exempt from what I'm about to say next. Every one of us has two words that's coming out. A hidden, and why I use the word hidden is because sometimes we're hiding it, we're not looking to show it out. And the other word is gift. Every one of us has a gift to offer. That gift is the very agreement, that little special spicy something that only you have. And this may be the time now that you may have to start to show that up. You may have to bring that out to the table. You may have to let your tribe know that, hey, this is something I do. And I do it sort of on the side. I do it for friends. And I'm going to venture it out a little bit. So if you can share the word with your friends that this is what I do, I'd appreciate it. And by doing that, you may find that you'll start to create a new career for yourself, as what I like to call an entrepreneur, where you're no longer working for a company, you're now working for you, in the very agreement, soul's agreement that you were meant to be doing anyway. And this is really based on the Uranus-Taurus energy and the Saturn-Pisces energy. Let me talk a little bit about Pisces in case you're not familiar. Pisces is known to be the most intuitive zodiac sign there is. Pisces are led by their intuition. Pisces are psychic. Pisces are sensitive. Pisces are the dreamer. Pisces uses their imagination a whole lot. And with Saturn being in Pisces, that is highlighting, for many of us, the opportunity to tap into our intuition on a much higher level. and tapping into our dreams, tapping into that imagination of if you have the opportunity, if someone literally gave you a magic wand and said, I'm granting you a wish, what would you like to do for the remaining portion of the time you're on this earth? That allows you to tap into your soul's agreement. What would that be for you? And that would be your wish. So whatever that special gift that you have that you sort of play with on the side, and a few of your friends know about it, but not everybody, and for whatever the reasons are, you just feel that it's not something that you can really make a full-time income on. Something I know to be true, and I believe it to be true, is every one of us have been ordained with that one special gift. Every one of us has that something that we are meant to do to live in prosperity and not poverty. So your special gift is really about being in more alignment to prosperity and not poverty. And if for whatever the reasons are, you do not really believe that you can make a full-time income off of your soul's gift, well, this is where the Uranus chaos energy comes in from, where because you're not in alignment to that belief, that's where the chaos is showing up. So until you truly get into alignment to knowing that your gift that you have, that you're the only one that has that gift, that you are truly aligned to that gift, and truly start to believe that it's possible to make a full-time income on it, and it's possible to be able to let go of the superficial jobs, and also understanding too that when we speak about our jobs that we thought was going to be our financial security and something to sustain us through life, the reality of it all is it's false financial security. Your financial security really does sit within your soul's agreement to that very gift that you were ordained to have. And every one of us has something. But because there's so many who are living out of alignment to that agreement, this is one of the reasons why the chaos shows up. This is one of the reasons why structurally our bodies are out of alignment. This is one of the reasons why we are in confusion. And thanks to, again, Saturn and Neptune both being in Pisces right now, at least for a little while longer, we are tapping into our higher consciousness, our higher awareness, our higher knowing. And right now it may look a little confusing because there's still a lot of things that need to sort of connect the dots. Until you move into the state of believing, this is where the confusion actually sits. So when we talk about the Neptune energy in Pisces, Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. So with Neptune sitting in Pisces, this is really about the assignment of tapping into your higher consciousness. This is really about learning at a much different pace. This is really about being able to see beyond what sits in front of you. This is really about being able to expand out of what you've been programmed and conditioned to believe all of this time. Again, this is why this Uranus-Taurus energy is so relevant right now, because there's so much chaos going on from the disbelief of what you've been programmed to believe and the disbelief of what you've been ordained to do. Because you don't believe in your own gift, which is why you're not fully stepping into it. And here we have it where we're going to really start to see, if you're not seeing it already, you're going to start to see it more so, where you're going to, if it doesn't affect you personally, I'm sure you're going to hear friends and even family members talking about it, where they go into work and they're finding out that they walk into work and they're being told to go into the human resource department because manager wants to talk to them, about their position that they no longer have. And we're seeing that. Now, I had spoken, or shared rather, during Christmas time about some of the retail stores. One particular, which is one of my favorites, Old Navy, they closed. The Old Navy that's right here by me. That's one of the Old Navies that they've closed already. And I believe they said that by the middle of 2025, all of the Old Navy locations will be faded out. They'll be closing. And a big reason, as I mentioned this, is the fact that they're not getting enough people in the store. To make the revenue they need to keep the store open. If you know anything about operating a store, whether it's a small business or corporation, doesn't matter, it's pretty much the same, is that you need a certain amount of revenue in order to sustain the bills, the electricity, and all of your staff. So if an average store has, maybe 15, 20 staff members, they have to be able to have that revenue coming in to support the pay rates for every one of those people they employ. And if that store is not making their revenue on a consistent base, so let's just say for January and February their revenue was a little low because Christmas time everybody did their purchasing, so they made a lot in December, but then January and February was quiet. March it gets busy again. March and April is busy, and then it gets quiet again. Whatever they're making in those heavier months, those months have to be able to carry through for those quiet months. And if their heavy months, from what they consider heavy months, become their slow months, that's where their problems come into play. And this is what we're seeing. And this has all to do with the fact that so many more people prefer just to shop online. The convenience of shopping is shopping online. So less people are going physically into a store and more people are shopping online, which then means for that corporation to evaluate and say, does it really make sense to keep their store open? And it's not that they don't care about their employees. They do care about their employees, just that they have to look at it logically that it doesn't make sense. I'll share with you a story, my own personal story regarding my storefront. Those of you who have been following me regularly, you know that I've had a storefront. Had a storefront for 22 years. And on September of 2022, the exact date was September 22nd of 2022, for those of you who like numbers, I decided, now the decision did not take place on September 22nd, 2022. That's the day I closed my storefront. This was a give and take 4 or 5 year thought in the making, based on how I saw my business going. And keep in mind, because I do have a lot of energy in my Pisces placement in my 9th house, remember what I said, Pisces are the most intuitive sign, I started noticing back in 2018, 2019, that the fitness industry was changing. And due to that change, I started noticing that there were less people physically coming in to the studio because there were other options for them to do things virtually speaking. And then, of course, the pandemic hit. Now, interesting enough, during the pandemic, my business, my revenue went up during the pandemic. From 2020 to about 2022, my revenue went up. So you're probably asking yourself, well, if your revenue went up, why would you close your studio? Because how my revenue went up was based on virtual business. I doubled my clientele by seeing clients virtually. I was starting to see clients all over the world. Arizona, China, India, France. I was seeing clients all over. And it just did not make sense to me to sit in my space where I had for 22 years to be on my computer working virtually, opening up the doors to my studio to maybe have 1 or 2 people physically coming into my studio, and then all the other clients, I'm meeting them virtually. So based on a logistic perspective, that's what led to my decision to closing down my 22-year storefront and moving into a virtual business that I continue to do now. And this is exactly one of the many reasons to why we are starting to notice that a lot of businesses are closing. And because a lot of businesses are closing, a lot of retail businesses are closing, why so many people will be pivoting in regards to their careers. And this has lots to do with the Uranus and Saturn and Neptune energy. Now, a little bit about the Saturn and Neptune energy in Pisces as we speak. And come March 30th to be exact, Neptune will be transiting out of Pisces and moving into Aries. Now, Pisces is the last zodiac sign of 12. So Pisces ends an astrological year. So Saturn and Neptune moving out of Pisces is ending an astrological cycle, where we will be beginning a new astrological cycle once Neptune and Saturn move into Aries. Now once Neptune moves into Aries, it's going to stay there, so that astrological cycle is going to begin. It's not going to float back into Pisces. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Neptune will sit in Aries for, I believe, 14 years. So 14 years we will experience Neptune in Aries. Now Aries represents your I am statement, its leadership, its assertiveness and also aggressiveness. It's the fire within you, so you want to get something done. And it really is about your I am. It's being the leader. So it makes sense, at least in my point of view, to why many people like yourself and me will be leaning towards more of an entrepreneurship rather than working for a company. Because it's that I am role. It's who am I and what am I here to lead? And how am I here to be a leader? And this will be taking place as of March 30th. So we are literally more than like 47 days. To be exact, I'm going to be exact with you. We are 49 days, to be exact. 49 days before Neptune moves out of Pisces and moves into Aries. So we have a month and like 19 days to really tap into what is it you want to do? What is it you want to do? What is your soul? What is your soul calling you to do? To move forward so you can be more aligned with the very agreements you are here to fulfill. Now, I use that expression a lot. Agreements that you are here to fulfill. And what I mean by that is, again, since we're little babies, way before we were born, even before we were conceived for that matter, at the time of when our parents were getting ready to conceive us, if you could think that far, we were having conversations with higher power, God, or whomever you call your higher power. And there was an agreement. You were sitting side by side, and there was a list of things, categories, that were being assigned to you in regards to what you were going to be coming to Earth for, what your purpose were, what the lessons you were going to be learning, what challenges, what joy, what love, whatever it was that you are being born to accomplish in this lifetime. And at that point, it was also in reference to what your gifts were going to be And how soon were you going to step into that soul's calling to fulfill your gifts? Now, many take a long time to get to that soul's calling. I myself knew what my soul's calling was from the age of 12. In fact, theoretically, I had a semi-idea what my soul's calling was when I was like 9 when I started dancing. Because in my mind's eye at 9 years old, I had this passion to, I want to be a dance teacher because I want to teach other people, other children how to dance. And then it was, as I got a little older, it was like I want to be a teacher because I want to teach students. The key theme was the word teach. And that's something I continue to do. And if you're not aware, I did live out all those other commitments and fulfillments and those agreements as I danced 4 years off Broadway in high school. And in what year was it? I think 2002, 2003, I had an opportunity to be a teacher. I taught in a private Greek school. I know if you can imagine. I taught health gym classes for first graders up into 8th grade. And I taught health education for 6th to 8th graders. So I had a chance to fulfill that agreement. Now, our agreements don't have to be these long agreements. They can be short-lived to fulfill them and then move on. And because I fulfilled those 2 agreements, there were other agreements that I was here to fulfill. At the ripe age of 12, I knew right then and there that my mission was to help women physically transform their body. And as you've been witnessing, that's been unfolding in a whole different direction. So again, understanding what your agreements are so important. And some people never really know what their agreements are. They spend their entire life trying to figure out what is it that they're supposed to be doing. Now, how you would know, how can you learn what your agreement is, what your soul's work is again your astrology. Looking on your astrology chart. There's a placement where on the top of your astrology chart, there's 2 letters, MC. And right in that MC is usually where your 10th house is. Your 10th house tells you your soul's purpose. Whatever the zodiac sign is, and whatever sign or whatever planet it's in, tells you your soul's purpose. So if you've never had a chance to look at your astrology chart, that's a reason itself to want to look at your astrology chart to get a general idea what you were born to do. Based on the 10th house. 10th house is associated with your soul's work. It's your fame, it's your success, it's your prosperity. That's your 10th house energy. And we all have something in our 10th house. Now, contradiction to what I just said, not everybody may have something in their 10th house. You may look at your chart and find out that your 10th house is empty. Then what? Well, you still have something in your 10th house because your 10th house is going to be ruled by a zodiac sign. You may not have any planets in your 10th house, but your zodiac sign is associated to a planet. So let's just say for kicks and giggles, I think that's the expression, we'll use mine, although I do have a planet in my 10th house. But we're going to just say for now, my 10th house is associated with Aries. So right off the back, we know that Aries is about the I am statement because we've been talking about Aries for some time now based on Saturn and Neptune. Aries is your I am statement. So for me, right off the back, what that tells me without knowing anything else in my chart is that I am here to affirm who I am. Who I am. Aries, let's take some of the traits of Aries. Aries is about your I am statement. Aries is about being a leader. So that tells me right off the back that I'm supposed to be a leader in something. And that could be taking on the role as a manager, taking on the role as a supervisor, someone that's going to be in an authority role to dictate and guide people to do things. In addition to, Aries is also about the boss. So it also tells me that I'm supposed to be the boss of something. So that also means that theoretically it's not just about managing someone else's business. A boss to me means I'm being the boss of my own business. So without me knowing anything else about my chart, And if there's no planets in that placement at all, that gives me the indication that somewhere along the line, I'm supposed to be a boss. I'm supposed to be leading people. Just from that placement right there. So now again, to do a little bit of research and discovery is to figure out, okay, again, if I didn't know if there was any planets there, what am I supposed to be the boss in? Where am I supposed to be the leader? Now, the other thing that you would bring into this conversation is your birth information, meaning your sun sign, your ascending sign, your moon sign. Those three placements could help you understand your 10th house placement if you don't have any planets there. And for me, it makes a lot of sense because my sun energy is Pisces. We already discovered Pisces is the most intuitive sign. So just from that connection, connecting the dot, gives me an indication that, okay, I'm supposed to be a leader in something that's going to be related to intuition, my psychic abilities. So see where I'm going with this without going into too much? So again, if you have looked at your astrology chart and you do know what's sitting in your 10th house placement, yet you're still not quite sure what your soul's calling is, I encourage you to reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. Because again, as we move, as Saturn and Neptune begins its transit out of Pisces, the last zodiac sign, the ending, and start to move into Aries, that new astrological cycle, it is so important for you to know what your soul's purpose is and how to navigate it. Otherwise, you're going to be caught up in a web that's going to feel very uncomfortable. Especially once Uranus moves into Gemini on July 7th. Now, on this conversation that I'm going to bring in, this part of the conversation, I'm going to bring some insight regarding our president. And this insight is our president, and this is common information, you can go and Google it if you like. Our president, in his 10th house, he has Uranus, which we already know. Uranus is about patience, rebellions, your foundation, restructuring, and chaos. He has in his 10th house is where Uranus sits. So his soul's purpose is about creating, restructuring some chaos. Now he also has Gemini sitting in his 10th house. Now where did I say Uranus is going to be moving into on July 7th? Gemini. And Uranus will be in Gemini until 2033. Yes. So from July 7th of 2025 through 2033, there will of course be retrogrades. And what that just means for our president is he's going to experience a return. Because the energy, collectively, is going to be at the exact same timing where it was when he was born. So what we are experiencing now, we're getting a preview of this Uranus-Gemini energy. Now, a little bit about Gemini, if in case you're not familiar. Gemini is about communication. It's all about technology. It's about learning and speaking. So again, with Uranus moving into Gemini, these are things that many of us may have to take on some new skills. Learning how to communicate. Learning how to use the computer. Because technology is the computer. Learning how to navigate more with computer. So maybe the work that you're doing, your soul's work that you're doing, the career you're in, is going to involve more computer skills. Gemini is also about traveling. It's about cars as well. So traveling, you may end up getting a position that's going to have you traveling more. You're not going to be sitting put in one place. You're going to be going to different places. Gemini is ruled by Mercury's energy. Mercury's all about that. Mercury's all about that. So when Uranus moves into Gemini, every time Mercury goes into a retrograde, that's going to impact Uranus and Gemini. There's going to be what we call conjunctions and squares and sextiles with that energy of Uranus with Gemini, because Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So just think about this energy. Think about what's going on around you. Perhaps at this point in time, it may bring in a little bit of ease and understanding to what you are noticing collectively in our world right now that you're getting really upset about. And you're getting upset because you don't have any answers. You don't have the understanding. If you can allow yourself to look beyond what's in front of you and take some of what I just shared with you based on astrology and allow yourself to see beyond, using your third eye, that intuition, that psychic energy, that Pisces energy, this will give you a moment of ease and grace. It will also give you the footing to start taking some action on how you would like to see your career or job transition between now and July. Because that's pretty much what you have. Between now and July, when Uranus enters Gemini. Between now and March 30th, when Neptune moves out of Pisces and moves into Aries, a shorter period of time. You'll have until May 24th when Saturn moves out of Pisces and enters Aries. However, that's going to be a little iffy, because when Saturn enters Aries on May 24th, Saturn is not going to stay in Aries for a long time. It's going to retrograde back into Pisces. And there's going to be that back and forth between Aries and Pisces again from that point with Saturn, because it's about restructuring your foundation and your karmic cycle when it comes to your intuition and your I am statement. And where these planets and where these zodiac signs literally sit on your chart gives you the theme and understanding to how to play. Now, I don't know why Spirit is showing this to me. If you ever played a game of chess, not checkers, chess, you really need to have the knowledge to play chess. You really need to know how to make that specific movement for checkmate. And that's exactly what you need to know here. It's the understanding of whatever's happening right now is happening for you. Nothing's ever happening to you. And this is leading you to where you have to go. I'm sure you've heard me say this expression. We are spiritual beings having multitudes of human experiences. And we must remind ourselves that we are spiritual beings. We are here to live in alignment of joy. And in order to get to that joy space, we have to be willing to let go of all the logistics of what we thought to be true may no longer be true. So, a little 101 astrology. When we think about our planets that are further out, the ones that don't move as quickly, those would be Uranus, Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn. Well, let's take Saturn out of there. Neptune. Even Jupiter for that matter. Jupiter moves every year. So those moves a little bit more quicker than the outer planets. Saturn moves every 2.5 years. Pluto, we already know, stays in the zodiac sign for a long time, anywhere between 16, 18 to 20 years. For right now, we know that that Pluto is in Aquarius for the next 20 years. Most of you who are in your 60s, this is probably your last Pluto experience. Unless, of course, you're blessed, healthy, and strong to live well into your hundreds, which is very possible. And then you'll get to experience a Pluto Pisces transit, which I believe will be extremely, this is the way I'm hearing to say it, spiritual lentual is how I heard it. Spiritual lentual, that's not even a word, but that's how I heard it. Very relevant, because when we talk about Pisces energy, it really is moving into the state of higher consciousness, allowing our dreams to really be fulfilled, and moving more into our imagination where things are possible there. So with Pluto being in Pisces energy at that point in time, it will be about transforming into that space, into the beings that we were meant to be. The light, the lighthearted, the empaths, sensitive, the knowing of knowing, the higher consciousness. And then when we think about the other planets, such as Mercury, Mars, and Venus, who move a little bit more rapidly. Mercury stays in the zodiac sign for about 3 weeks, even during its retrograde. So we have a 3-week period where whatever zodiac sign Mercury's in, we're learning something. Right now, Mercury is sitting in Aquarius, so it's about learning about our visions. It's about tapping in to speak about our visions, speaking with people and telling them your vision. So this way here you can find your tribe and your collaborators, because that's what this Aquarian energy is. You want to find people that you're going to make a chain with and that you can collaborate with. You do not want to waste your time with people that are not looking to collaborate with you. If I'm looking to purchase your service, I want to know you're looking to purchase mine. That's collaboration. If I'm only going to purchase your service and you're not going to purchase my service ever, we're not in a collaboration. A collaboration is a team where we partner together. We work together. That's a collaboration. I'm not here to be your friend. And I know that sounds mean. And it doesn't mean, I don't mean to be mean. I'm here to collaborate. I'm here to make connections. I'm here to help you climb the ladder so you can help me climb the ladder, is what I'm here to do. A little bit again about my Pisces energy in the 9th house. My superpower is being able to see you at your highest level. And I want to help you get there. And in order for me to help you get there, you and I have to have a collaboration. A connection where you're actually purchasing my service so I can help you get to your service. Is what that's really about. Bottom line. There's no secret. There's no sugarcoating it. That's the bottom line. And you too should be really in that energy of wanting to connect with people that you can collaborate with. And I say this over and over and over again, that when the universe, and notice I use the word when versus if, when the universe puts me in front of you, it's because there's something you and I are meant to do. Now, if for whatever the reasons are, you're saying no to that opportunity, what you're basically saying no to is the agreement that you agreed to fulfill. And you're choosing not to do it based on fear. Again, no sugarcoating, real talk, raw talk. Sometimes it hurts. That's how it's got to be fed. And this is the energy we are in as we're moving. So when we think about that Mercury energy, where it is right now, this is about making connections, learning, communicating, and teaching. Every one of us has the ability to learn and teach. Every one of us. We all play 2 parts on this earth. We're students, we're teachers. We all play 2 parts. At every given time. You're not one more than the other. Every given time. Every given time I'm a student. Every given time I'm a teacher. I have more mentors than I can count. And I take on courses as a student. And I have courses that I teach as the teacher. And if that's not you, that's something you want to look into. Because that's theoretically the agreement. You're here to learn something, and you're here to teach something. Ask yourself, when was the last time you taught somebody something? Ask yourself, when was the last time you learned something? And learning means you're taking a course. Learning means you're sitting here listening. Learning means you're being curious enough to want to learn something beyond what you know. Coming in with an open mind. And when I say open mind, that means that you're going to go beyond what you believe. And get curious of what someone else is saying. The one thing as humans that we have to learn to let go of is believing that our way is the right way. Every way is the right way. When you write, I like for you to write the number 6 on a piece of paper. Number 6, write it on a piece of paper. As you write the number 6, you'll see the number 6 in front of you. Turn that paper over and you see the number 9. If you lay that paper on on a table and you have another person sitting across from you and you ask that person what number do they see, let's say I drew the number 6, so I see 6. You're going to see 9. So you tell me you see 9, but I see 6. Does that mean we're both wrong? No, we're both right. Because we see it based on our perception. So when we can learn to come out of that debating of I'm right and you're wrong, and we move into that curiosity, what am I supposed to learn from the way this person is speaking, their belief system, you open up your ability to grow. And that's really what this energy is about. So when we think about the other closer planet to us, which is Venus, which will be going retrograde. Venus is all about beauty. It's about the relationships we have with each other. And it's also very much about our physical body. The connection we have with our physical body as we make connections with each other. The more we're aligned to each other, the more our physical body is going to be at ease. The less we're aligned with each other, the more our physical body is going to feel it. Now, it doesn't mean we're not aligned. It just means that one of us are out of alignment, which is why when we're hanging out together, if I'm hanging out with you and when I'm finished with you and I'm exhausted, it's because I picked up some toxic energy from you. Because you're out of alignment. And sadly to say, there's many of us who are out of alignment because we're not living fully in purpose. And this comes back to our career. If we have a job that's not aligned with us, we're out of alignment. Bottom line. If we quote-unquote, in the 3D term, retired and we're not doing anything, we're out of alignment. Simple. Very easy. Again, my conversations is real talk. Real raw talk. Hello there, Kitty. How are you, my love? Real raw talk. I am not here to sugarcoat. I am not here to make you feel warm and fuzzy. I am here to wake you up. I'm here to jolt you. I'm here to trigger you. Because I want you to start seeing things in a different way. As we speak of career and jobs and all this other energy. So now the other planet that's closest to us, I spoke about Mercury, I spoke about Venus. We're going to speak about Mars. Mars is the action taker. Right now Mars is sitting in Cancer in a retrograde, but not much longer. But it's the action taker. So depending on where each of our closer planets, what zodiac signs that's sitting in, plays a big role in how we're going to move. Remember that game of chess? You need to know your players. So you need to know how to move. You need to know where these planets are on your chart so you can learn to move. I have Mars in my 10th house. Remember when I talked to you about my 10th house earlier? Mars in my 10th house is about me being the leader, taking action. What do I want to do next? What do I need to know about me so I can help you know about you? Because that's what I do. That's my superpower. Me being able to navigate so I can help you navigate. My superpower. You're going to hear me use that word a lot. I want you to learn what your superpower is. Because when you know your superpower, it's going to help you have confidence. Because, hey, isn't there a superhero you like? And see yourself as a superhero once you know your superpower. So having Mars in my 10th house with Aries, and Mars rules Aries, oh my God, that just lights me up. That gets me super excited. So me wanting to really step into my fulfilling my agreement to my 10th house of my soul's calling, being that leader, being on fire, and sometimes being a little aggressive while doing so, and that's okay. I have all my other placements that's going to soften me out and make me kind and compassionate and sweet and loving. But I love that Mars Aries energy. I love that Mars Aries energy. I had said a while back to one of my other astrology mentors, is I want to see something before I go further. Wait, that's not what I want to see. Come here. Oh, I can. Hey, Kitty, if I were to bring you on screen, it says you're available to, can you? Just type in the word yes if you can. And while she's doing that, I'm going to say what I was going to say. So what was I going to say? Where was my thought going? I lost track of my thought. Oh, there you go. A while back when I was chatting with one of my astrology mentors, I had always said to him, in fact, I was on a live with him earlier today. Yes, awesome. Hang in there with me, Kitty, and I'll bring you on in a minute. I always said to him, I really wish I was born as a Scorpio. Whether my sun, moon, or ascending was a Scorpio, I really wish I was born as a Scorpio. And he had asked me why. And I said, well, I don't know. Every Scorpio I know, they seem to have that zinger in them. They seem to just be like, ee. And he said, well, why would you want that? I said, because, with all my water energy and my kindness and my compassion and just my sweetness, it's just like I feel like people take advantage of me. And if I had that Scorpio, maybe I'd be more, I wouldn't be taken advantage of as much. And then he told me about my Mars energy. And I was like, oh. So in reality of it all is, my Mars Aries 10th house is almost like having that Scorpio energy. Although I do have Scorpio. I have Scorpio that sits in my, oh my God. My Scorpio sits in my, I'm grabbing my chart, people. I don't want it to fall on the floor. I do have Scorpio that sits in my 4th and 5th house. It makes up a bulk of my 5th house energy. And I have Jupiter in Scorpio on my chart. And by the way, people, we have all the zodiac signs on our chart. You may not have planets sitting in the chart, but you are made up of all 12 zodiac signs. So for a brief moment, I'm going to bring in one of my other astrology mentors and also friends. I'm going to bring her on, and then I'm going to come to a close because I want to keep this relevant to careers and jobs. So when I bring Kitty in, we're going to continue to speak about careers and jobs and how we are going to start to see the shift and how we're witnessing many people transiting out of their career and job, whether because their job is being faded out or they're making the decision to step more into their soul's calling. So I do believe I have enough battery life for this. So let's do this. Bringing Miss Kitty Foss on. She's showing up as Amy Martin, but that's okay. Let's bring her in. I believe she'll be coming on any second now. I love when this happens. I love when we have this unexpected, unpredictable conversation that comes in.
I see me.
Your screen is black. On my end, your screen is black.
And see, your screen is black on my end.
Are you on your phone? Or what are you on?
I'm on my phone.
Oh, that's strange. We should be able to do this. You should be able to. I should be able to see you, and you should be able to see me.
Well,
So,
all I see, I'm going to hit this off. Do you want to stop giving light? No, I don't. But it says, see, what I can see is you're black, and I can see myself.
Yeah, we have it the other way around. Anyway, they can hear you, and they can hear me. So,
Okay.
yeah, we have Cheryl watching with us right now. I think she was watching before as well. It'd be nice if we could see you too. But whatever. In any case,
You can hear me.
Yeah, so just based on the conversation that I'm holding right now, based on careers and jobs, with all this energy we do have going on, with Uranus getting ready to move out of Gemini, and a big reason to why I'm having this topic today is to give people some insight of how what we're seeing going on in the world right now, how people usually like to place blame, point their fingers and say, well, it's this person's fault to why this is happening. I like to bring it into astrology more so we can really learn how to navigate with Uranus moving out of Taurus in July, moving into Gemini, and how our president does hold Uranus in his 10th house in Gemini. and how that's playing a big role in how many people are going to start to notice with both Saturn and Neptune moving out of Pisces into Aries on how their careers may start to change. So you have any insight on that?
Well, in general, it's a shift in thinking. Oh, Cheryl said she can see both of us, so yay.
Yeah. Well, that's
Um,
good. That's excellent. Thank you, Cheryl.
Yeah, thank you. It is a dynamic shift in thinking and how we think. And so as we look at what is a career, I like to call the 10th house the house of persona. How we want to be seen in our life, what is the work we're here to do. And so when you kind of shift that paradigm into how we are thinking about things, how we are looking at, we have this Aquarian energy of the vision. We're going to have 2 planets in Aries getting us going, a whole new cycle with spirit. We're going to be going over a lot of that 29th degree resetting karma. So for the 10th degree on the bottom, which is Capricorn, it is brand new structures. It is brand new understanding of who we are in the bigger picture and what our potential is to be.
Yes.
So that house is very much lit up anyway in this level of shifting in how we think, but especially if we think of this as persona, our house of work. What is our work here to do? And our work here to do is to put together our human experience along with our divine experience. And the vehicle in which we use that is all about how we use our personality. And if it doesn't align with what we do for work or how we think about our lives, then we're not on our path.
Exactly. And I love that Kitty just said, shifted. That's the word I'm hearing. It shifted even my dialogue, my language in regards to 10th house being about our soul's purpose, our career, to the persona. And I think that's really interesting because, again, our dialogue and everything that we've been programmed to believe and condition to believe, I believe, is a big part of what's being changed too. Everything that what we once knew may no longer be true. And I heard a woman say this yesterday in a live. Everything that I'm sharing with you right now, once I stop sharing it, let it go. Because again, nothing is necessarily true. It's what you take on to believe to be true and the understanding of it. But become curious of what is actually going on around us and what's going on with you personally. And rather than, which is what the humans do, is rather than pointing our fingers at someone or somebody's and saying it's happening because of so-and-so, take a look at your astrology chart and see what's going on there and see how that really plays a role with what's going on with yourself, so you can learn how to navigate through this journey that we are on, what's called life. So Kitty, thanks. Go ahead.
I'm a 10th house Scorpio. 10th into 11th house Scorpio. So it really is, if you can, your career is about your work and how you want to be seen put together. And that midheaven that starts the 10th house is your choice of how you want to be seen. So if you're in a career or you're doing work that you're not seen in, then you're not showing up in the persona you're wishing to be.
Exactly. And a lot of this is about moving into that placement of understanding why you're not in alignment. Again, as I said earlier, your soul's career, as many people tend to think, is that it has to be a spiritual career. Your soul's career is just something that you enjoy doing, and it's based on what you're here to be. So again, if your biggest mission is that you want to be seen, you want to be heard, and the position you're sitting in, at the career you're in, or your job you're in that's not allowing that, then that means you're not in alignment. So now that means you're going to have to do something to pivot so you can be seen and heard, if that's what your deepest soul's desire is to be seen and heard. What can you do so that can happen?
And even if you're in a job, a job, that you don't dislike, how are you showing up in that job? I used to always give the example of there was a outstanding toll booth attendant in Maine, and he always wanted to get in his line in Saco because he was friendly. And his work, his persona was to be this friendly, giving, accessible person. Even in a small interaction every single day, he was still doing his work in his
Exactly.
JOB. So
Exactly.
that's kind of your litmus test. Am I able to show up in how I really see myself? Or is it
Exactly.
sucking on my soul? So very much.
Exactly. And I love that because as Kitty's saying that, the first two things come to mind. That particular toll booth person has a very long line of cars waiting to get his
Yes.
experience, and all the people who are on that line in their mind saying, "Why is this guy moving so damn slow that there's a line there?" So if you see the shoe, it's like, okay, there's a line because all these people are waiting to interact with this kind, compassionate, funny person, and people's thinkings are, well, why is this guy moving so slow? See how the human mind thinks and what this guy is doing and how he's attracting a whole line of people to be with him.
Mm-hmm.
So all those people that don't want to wait online are missing the opportunity of meeting with this fun toll person. So yeah, love that. Kitty, thank you so much for hopping in, and I'm sure later when I come back and see this, I'll be able to see you and I too, just like Cheryl said that she can do.
Yeah,
So thank you for that.
Yeah, how funny is it that we can't actually see each other? So, all right.
That is very funny.
Yeah.
Alrighty, thank you so much. And my battery life's gonna get ready to go, so I'm gonna be hopping off of this too. But thank you, Kitty, for hopping in. I'll chat with you later.
Bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Joy.
Thank you. All right, so there you have it. I love when colleagues, friends, and collaborators hop in where we can share each other's conversations and add more to it. Because the one thing I always say to be true is that I don't know everything, and there's always other great teachers that join me on my lane and share more insight with us. So I so appreciate Miss Kitty coming on and sharing her wisdom with you as well. And as I did mention, my battery life is dying, and rightfully so. I think I've been on for about an hour. And I could probably spend the entire day sitting here chatting with you, but that also means that you're not going to get anything done, and neither am I. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I know I've shared a lot. Feel free to put some comments in. Let me know what your thoughts are. Share this out if you have not already done so, because that's how this is going to continue to stay alive. And I would love to know more about your astrology chart. I would love to know if you know about your astrology navigation system. And if you don't, if you are willing to learn, please reach out to me. I do have a 12-month astrology course that's going to be starting up very soon, and I would love for you to be a part of it. To get more information about that, you can message me, send me a yes here, whatever it is, however it is, you can reach out to me. Please do so. Enjoy this amazing day. Bye-bye for now. And for those of you who are watching, thank you so much for spending your time with me. Have a great day.